So last night on Raw, we seen yet another sign that Pentagon Jr. is going to be joining the WWE very, very soon, and it's looking highly likely he will be on the Raw brand. Not so long ago, we seen a symbol with a circle and a line through it, and then last night on Raw, we seen what pretty much looks like a confirmation with the outline of Pentagon's mask being shown on screen. So what we're going to be doing today is we're going to look at a way in which WWE could debut Pentagon on Raw. I am Ryan, and this is the Wrestling Group. So like I say, it's looking highly likely Pentagon is going to be debuting. With Raw switching over to Netflix next week, it's highly likely that we could see the Masked Superstar on Raw on the debut episode on Netflix. So we've seen, obviously, last night as well, the New Day got into it a bit with Rey Mysterio backstage. And, Rey said that he will face the New Day in the future. And he'll face him with a member of his crew. So that obviously refers to the LWO. But we could well see the New Day versus Rey Mysterio and a surprise tag team partner, and that being Pentagon Jr. So that is probably the most likely way to bring him into the company, have him as a surprise opponent for surprise partner for Rey Mysterio. It makes sense. They have got history together. They worked together on the independent scene a few years back during Rey Mysterio's time away from WWE. They faced off as well at Lucha Underground. So it would make sense to bring him in with Rey Mysterio. The only problem with that being is, obviously, I don't want to see Pentagon Jr. in the LWO. There's no need for it. Penta is a star already, and doesn't need to come in as part of a flat faction, should we say. Faction, the LWO, it's never really taken in WWE since they brought it back. They've tried with multiple members to try and get the faction over. It never really seem to get over. And I don't think adding Penta to it is going to benefit either or. But they could well bring Penta in as Rey Mysterio's tag team partner. Now, I'm not saying that they need to go on a run of, say, a year, because it looks like we're waiting on a year for Rey Fenix to be able to leave AEW and join his brother, Penta, in WWE, because that seems the most likely destination for Rey Fenix as well. We don't necessarily need to see Penta and Rey win the tag belts and remain a team until Rey Fenix gets there. So the way I would book it personally is, yes, I would have Penta come in as Rey Mysterio's tag team partner, but I wouldn't have them win the tag belts. So if you remember a few years ago when AJ Styles came into the WWE, him and Chris Jericho teamed for a very short period, creating Y2AJ. And then obviously failed to win the tag team titles, with Chris Jericho then turning on AJ Styles and then having them face against each other at WrestleMania. So that was a good storyline. It just didn't have enough time for it to be fleshed out. But if Penta does come in the January, if he does debut next week, there's plenty of time there to build the storyline. And that's the way I'd go. I'd go similar route of have Penta and Rey team for maybe a couple of weeks. Even have, Rey try to endorse him as a member of the LWO. Have them challenge for the tag belts, maybe at the Royal Rumble pay-per-view. Obviously have them fail to do so. Maybe Rey gets pinned. And then they both enter into the Royal Rumble match. So obviously the Royal Rumble pay-per-view this year will be taking place at the beginning of February. But you could easily have Rey and Penta, like you say, fail to win the tag belts. Rey Mysterio gets pinned. Penta's a bit upset over that. He wanted to be a champion as soon as he comes into the company. And then they go into the Royal Rumble match. And Penta takes Rey Mysterio out the match. He eliminates him from the Royal Rumble. Now, that would obviously set tempers flaring. Could easily start a storyline where we get Rey Mysterio versus Pentagon Jr. at WrestleMania. Because that is the way I book it. I think Rey Mysterio is a very good first opponent for Penta if you're going to book him straight away at WrestleMania. I mean, they do WrestleMania now over a 2-night pay-per-view. So there's plenty of matches available to be able to use. Penta is an incredible wrestler. I think a lot of WWE fans that haven't seen Penta wrestle yet are going to be surprised. They're going to expect him to be a quote-unquote cruiserweight wrestler, and that's, in a sense, what he can be. He does a lot of high-flying stuff, but, he's got a lot more core strength to him than what a lot of cruiserweights do. If you go back, he was the Impact World Champion. He had a really good run in Impact, or TNA's it's gone back to again. He was the TNA World Champion for a while, and he had a good run there. I'm not saying he's going to come in and win the WWE Championship, but, he's a good pedigree. He's got good history. And I feel like Penta versus Rey Mysterio at WrestleMania is a good way to start his WWE career. And like I say, I just don't feel like we need Rey Mysterio basically to be the fill-in until Rey Fenix gets into the company. Now, obviously, the Lucha Brothers are going to tag team together when Rey Fenix does come in. So we don't need Rey to sort of be a placeholder until we get to that part. So you could do it along the lines of, they come in, they team together for a little while, challenge for the tag belts, they fail, Penta then eliminates Rey Mysterio from the Royal Rumble, and that then sets up a feud going into WrestleMania and Penta's first WrestleMania appearance and first proper feud in the WWE. So let me know your thoughts and opinions on potential match at WrestleMania between Pentagon Jr. and Rey Mysterio Jr., as he was once known. Going on from that, there's so many potentials for Penta to have some great matches. You could put him in the ring with, like, Jey Uso. Main event Jey Uso would be a great opponent for Pentagon Jr. For years, a lot of fans have wanted matches between the likes of the Lucha Brothers and the Usos. We've seen Jey Uso go into his own over the last 2 years. He's grown massive. He's one of the most popular and overstars in the company. His merchandise sales are phenomenal. So why not give us Jey Uso versus Pentagon Jr.? We can see them in singles action before, obviously, in a year's time when Rey Fenix does come in, we can finally get that match that a lot of people have been wanting to see, which is the Lucha Brothers versus the Usos. But I think that would be a great potential. And again, like I say, if you're going to go for Penta versus Rey at WrestleMania, then obviously Penta would be the one that would turn heel. WWE won't turn Rey Mysterio heel. So that would easily set up a match against Jey Uso as well, with Pentagon Jr. being the heel in that situation. There's so many guys there that there's potential for Penta to have great matches with. 2 already have named Rey Mysterio, which we've seen a few years ago. But seeing it on a bigger stage would be a lot better. Jey Uso, like I say, Usos versus Lucha Brothers is definitely a match that we want to see at some point. And then you've got, obviously, the likes of Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins can have a great match with anyone, same as Penta can. Kevin Owens, again, someone who can have absolute storm-banging matches against pretty much any opponent. Especially now we've seen him go down the heel route. We're starting to use a pile driver a bit more as well, which would be interesting to see when Penta comes in. And then you've got, obviously, the likes of legends that are still currently wrestling. Obviously, there's Randy Orton. Randy Orton versus Pentagon Jr. is a match that I'd never, ever even thought about watching. But obviously, if there's a potential possibility of that match happening, that is one I will definitely tune in to watch. We've got John Cena coming back next week. He's got 1 year left in the WWE before he retires. Could we see at some point John Cena versus Pentagon Jr.? Again, another match I'd never even think about until now. It is literally possible for Penta to run a bunch of matches that you never thought possible before. But I'd definitely like to see John Cena versus Pentagon Jr. as well. So let me know in the comment section below. Pick your top 3 opponents you want to see Pentagon Jr. run through when he gets to the WWE. And don't forget, as always, to give us a like, comment, and subscribe to the Wrestling Group today.